Hello everybody, this is Gavelta Aon, and today we're going to learn how to use Prezi.com to create a presentation called Prezi. Quite popular around the world. If you haven't done this before, no worries, it's lots of fun and it's really not that hard. So we're going to start by you going to Prezi.com and clicking on sign up because we're going to sign up for an account. We will sign up for the public account, $0 a month, free, no surprises. We're clicking on sign up, and this is where you need to key in your information. So you're going to start by typing your first name, your last name, your email, yes, a real email, and the password that you're going to choose, and please choose something you remember. And you're going to key in your password, same password twice. Make sure it's the same password, make sure that it's something you remember, and make sure that you're going to do it twice, the same word, and then click on I agree to the terms of use and sign up. What's going to happen is you're going to get in your email a confirmation email from Prezi with a link that you're going to have to click on in order to confirm that this is you and it's a real email. And this is how you begin working on your real Prezi. Once you click on the confirmation email, you're going to go back to Prezi.com and click on login. At this point, because you've signed up, you can actually log in with your real email, and that will take you to your Prezi page. You're going to start by clicking on New Prezi, which will take you to your first blank canvas, that's what we call it, after we click on the blank template. And yes, Prezi has quite a few templates, but we're going to start with blank. And that's really a great place to start. So that's what the Prezi canvas looks like. It's pretty blank, and there's a few menus I'd like to speak to you about. There's the side menu. You can see that house, that's the home, the overview. This is your zoom, and those zoom buttons are really important, and you're going to have to learn to use them a lot in Prezi. So that's the side menu. Look at the top. There are quite a few options at the top. That's your top menu. And these are your slides. This is your slide overview. Just like in PowerPoint or a notebook, you have a slide overview which you can see each slide and what's on it. You can see that the first slide kind of has been created for you with a circle. You may choose to use it. You may want to change. It's up to you. And this is where your creativity and your project and requirements come into play. So notice that this is your canvas, as I said, and on the side your zoom menu can show you how large your canvas can be, because I'm zooming out and you can see that that large circle that we had becomes very small, and it's up to you how small or how big it's going to show on your Prezi, because this is where the path comes in, and we're going to talk about it in just a few minutes. So notice that I'm zooming in and out as I please. I can go back to templates and make it just a little bit more interesting with color if I'd like. Notice that the color changes right behind that menu. So if I really don't like that white background, I can do that. I can do this now or I can do it later. It's up to me. I'm going to go with a blue. And you can see that you already have the add text box in the middle of the circle. I can choose to go with it or not. Notice, again, I can go zoom in and out to decide how large I want this first circle to be. And by clicking on adding text, I can start typing my title if I wanted to. Now you can see that I can make it larger, change the look of it, the size of it, the color of it. and a whole bunch of other things that I can do just like I would be using Word. I can move it anywhere I'd like, even outside of the circle. It's up to me. Notice how my view changes right here on the side. And I can add a frame at any time. Now, frames are a big deal in Prezi. I can add a bracket frame just by clicking, and notice that as soon as I added that, it also added a slide. I can add a circle frame that will look just like this one, and I can draw an invisible frame which will not show, but anything inside it will as I add things to my Prezi. So just by drawing an invisible frame, and usually invisible frames are on pictures, so we might want to do that later. But when you draw an invisible frame, you draw it around a picture, and that picture becomes the next slide. So maybe we'll wait until I add some pictures. And speaking of pictures, I know that you have to add images. You've got so many options right there. By the way, inside of every frame, I can add a shape as well, just to make things interesting with arrows and symbols, and it's really up to me how crazy and interesting I'd like this Prezi to be. Now, images is something that we add to every PowerPoint and certainly to every Prezi to make it interesting, especially with the path that we're going to add. And by clicking on images, you can choose images that are from file, which means you already have them on your computer. They can be from anywhere, but I have downloaded them, or they can be straight from Google without even having to download them. If I have the images on my computer, I click on From File and I search for where they are, and I should know where they are. If I want images from Google Images, I can actually search for Google Images by clicking a keyword, and all these Google Images will appear, and I will be able to scroll through them just by clicking on the arrows and decide if there's an image that really works for me, and that might be this one. And by clicking Insert, you can see that it's processing the picture straight from Google. And right now, just by clicking in the center of it and clicking that hand, I can move it wherever I want. And by clicking the side of it, I can resize it. And again, move it wherever I want. And that, as you can see, is already on my slide, and you can see where it's at. I can crop the image, I can delete it if I'm unhappy with it. I can go back to it at any time. If I wanted it to be on its own for some reason and make it a whole slide on its own, this is where I would add the invisible frame around it, and you will see that as soon as I let go, it becomes slide number 3. So right now I have slide number 1 with a title. I have another frame that I've created with nothing in it, and I have a picture that's slide number 3. Of course, you will have a lot more with all your information. However, what you need to know is what happens to connect all of these, and this is the path. Prezi is about creating a path. It's about moving from one piece of information to the next, and you'll have a lot of pieces of information on your canvas. Notice that I can go really zoom out to continue adding things all around wherever I want. Unlike PowerPoint, it doesn't have to connect, and even though number 3 here is a picture, I can easily turn it into any number that I want just by adding. And when I'll add the path, you'll see that I can go back and forth however times I want, unlike PowerPoint. I also want to mention that you can add media, that's video straight from YouTube or from a file, background music. Again, I already spoke about the shapes. We're creating a Prezi, so I'm not going to expect you to insert slides from PowerPoint, but just so you know, that is available from Prezi, and it's an option that people choose to do. You can create your own library, an object library, and really the creativity options are pretty large. But I started talking about the path, and I'd like to show you what happens when you edit a path. And in order to do that, I'm going to click right on the side on Edit a Path. Prezi assumed that I wanted this as number 1, this is number 2, and this is number 3. I can change that if I don't want to, just by moving number 1 to wherever I want. So if I wanted 1 to be somewhere in the distance, I could have done that, or just removed it altogether. I can have 1 right here if I wanted to. I can have 2 here and 3 here. Notice that it keeps doing that. Now if I wanted to go back to ancient civilization to 4, I could do that just by clicking from 3. to 4 and play around with wherever I want 4 to be. Now Prezi is sensitive about staying, I guess, outside of that circle. But you can see that from 4 I can also go to 5, and that means real emphasis on this side of the circle rather than just ending in the picture. If I wanted to see what that looks like, I would click on Present and use the arrows that will show me that I started from this large circle, went into the next frame where I really didn't put anything, to the picture, zoom back in, and right back in. Now I only created 5 points, and that's what it's showing me, but I could have easily created a lot more and started from a lot smaller or a lot larger. It's up to me. I want to show you what a Prezi on ancient civilization looks like and how much more interesting it can be than what I've done with you in a very short time. So we're going to take a look at an ancient civilization Prezi. Notice that it starts from a very large pyramid and some kind of a shape right on the side of it. It's very hard to tell, but notice what happens when we zoom into that shape and we zoom even more to a very small text that was written in a very large size and made very small, but zoomed into. Some very small text on a very large map, zoomed into. Once again, creating a path that takes us from one area to the next on that huge canvas that Prezi is all about. So I'm going to go out and show you what this Prezi is all about by clicking on Edit so you can see all the slides on the side. So this is what these slides look like on the side, and you can see that there's a lot of them in order to create such a very, very detailed Prezi. And if we were to edit the path, you will see that it goes from 1 on the side, outside looking at the entire picture, to 2 being that very, very small. I hope you remember, and if not, we can zoom onto it. Right here. I just added a 73, but that's okay. And as you go through the path, by the way, I added something that I can easily delete by removing this path point. If you go through the path, you will see that this Prezi was really, really detailed. From one point to the next. By the way, you can move it a little bit away, a little bit into the text, and really play around with it to make sure that you can have it very, very much focused in, very focused out, very zoomed, and so on and so forth. And you can see that the creator of this Prezi worked very hard to go all over and even put a video backwards so that when you zoom into it, it really, really does zoom from 69 right here to 70, which is a video right there. So there's a lot of ways to do that just by playing with the path. Remember that your save button is crucial, very, very important. And the beauty about Prezi is that you can always share it. And that's an important feature of the collaboration that you guys are going to work on together. In order to, first of all, once you save it, that's quite important because that stays online and gets saved for you, and you can always go back to it, and anybody who has access to with the password and the email can go back to it. Saving and closing is another option. Your settings for Prezi talk about the screen ratio, and you really won't have to worry about that until you present. You can start an online presentation and invite people to edit. So if you are the creator, by clicking on invite people to edit, you can invite your peers. And the sharing part is very important when you would like to share it with your teacher and you'd like his or her input, by clicking on sharing and sending this link to a friend by clicking on copy and putting that into an email. So you can easily share Prezi with anyone who, even if you're in the middle of something, and get their opinion on where you are. I'm going to wish you lots of luck, lots of creativity here. You know where to find me. My office is in the library, and you can always find me if you need any help. I know you're going to do great work. I can't wait to see your work, and have fun.